Hey guys, come at you with another video. We're looking at the Russian Revolution. The man you can see in the picture right there, his name is Vladimir Lenin, and we're going to look at how did he take control of Russia, because it's because of him taking control of Russia that will essentially force Russia out of World War One. I told you at the end of the World War One videos that Russia doesn't get to finish the war, and it's because of the revolution that Lenin leads that causes that. Just quick background to the revolution. When World War I breaks out, Russia is not ready for war. Japan beat them just a few years earlier in what was called the Russo-Japanese War. And then in 1905 they had another revolution that weakened them as well. So there's two battles right there, there's two wars right there, caused them not to be ready for World War I to break out as quickly as it did. Beginnings of upheaval. Tsar Nicholas II is not sympathetic to the needs of the people. He is very much one of those leaders who is not in touch with the needs of the everyday person. He uses the military to keep everyone in line and put down any dissent or resistance. He is very much one of those rulers that will use the military to kill you if you need to be killed, in his opinion. He was not a very personable leader. He heads to the front line to take control of the fighting. He knows that Russia is not doing well with World War I, so he's going to head to the front lines to make it look like he's make it look like he's involved, make it look like he is trying to take control of the fighting. While he's there, his wife will be quote-unquote left in charge to deal with domestic business, and she relies on a holy man by the name of Rasputin for advice. Here's a little bit about Rasputin. He's a holy man who claimed that he could cure the Tsar and Tsarina's child of hemophilia. Hemophilia is essentially when your blood doesn't clot. So any cuts, scrapes, or anything like that are life-threatening because you can't stop bleeding. He tells the Tsar and Tsarina that he can cure their child of this, and it looks like for a time that he does, which is the crazy thing. And once that happens, the Tsar and the Tsarina pretty much trust him for anything. Couple of things of what he was like. Eyewitness reports refer to his transfixing gaze. Just looking at him could kind of, how do you say it? Transfix your attention. Like you feel like you're in another world when you look at him. A distinct lack of hygiene. Was not a very good bather. And he was known for his insatiable sexual appetite involving actresses and prostitutes. Doesn't matter who, he wanted them. So, how did he die? And this is probably the most interesting thing about Rasputin. Royal family became jealous of Tsarina's infatuation with Rasputin. They were that she was relying more on his thoughts and what he wanted rather than the needs of the people of Russia or what the royal family wanted. The fact that she trusted this holy man more than her own family really rubbed them the wrong way. So the family does what any good royal family would do, and they plot to have him killed. Now, what's kind of interesting about him, and this is a true story, a famous quote of his, and it's kind of interesting what came about afterwards, but he says, "If I am killed by common assassins, and especially by my brothers, the Russian peasants, you, Tsar of Russia, have nothing to fear for your children. They will reign for hundreds of years in Russia. However, if it was your relations or family who have wrought my death, then no one in your family, that is to say, none of your children or relations, will remain alive for 2 years. They will be killed by the Russian people. I shall be killed. I am no longer among the living. Pray, pray, be strong. Think of your blessed family." What's interesting about this is the fact that the royal family plots to kill him and are successful in that, and within 2 years, every one of the Tsar's family will be murdered by the Russian people. Completely mind-blowing. His actual death will happen in December 1916. He will be kidnapped, he'll be tortured, stabbed, poisoned by mushrooms, shot. However, he will escape all that, and his actual death, cause of death, will be when he is escaping, he will collapse into a river and he will drown. So, the Russian Revolution. March 1917. The women take to the streets demonstrating for bread. March 8th, Petrograd, the capital city of Russia. The Tsar orders the military to put down the demonstration and fire into the crowd. The Duma, otherwise known as the legislature, they meet and create a provisional government. So they're trying to essentially get rid of the Tsar. They realize that he's wrong, and they are trying to get rid of him, and they're going to create a brand new government instead. The military, once they see this, will start to support the Duma and not the Tsar. And so that causes, once the Tsar realizes that he has no more support, he will step down a little over a week later. Provisional government, you can see Alexander Krasensky heads it. He keeps fighting the war, and no one likes it. The Russian peasants, the Russian people, do not want to fight in World War I. They do not want to. They know they are getting killed, and they do not want any more of their brothers and sisters to die for it. So, this new government will be challenged by the Soviets. It's a council made up of workers and soldiers, mostly socialists, otherwise known as the Bolsheviks. Lenin will be in charge of this group called the Bolsheviks. Germany, at the time, Lenin was kind of kicked out of Russia. The Tsar did not want him. He knew what he was trying to do. So a couple years earlier, the Tsar kicked Lenin out, and Germany helps Lenin get back to Russia. The Germans are smart. They know that if Lenin goes back to Russia, he'll help overthrow the king or the Tsar, and therefore be less likely to fight the war. So Germany's just trying to look out for their own best interests with this. It's a brilliant move. The Bolsheviks seize power. Once Lenin is back in Russia, they storm the Winter Palace. Not too much blood will be shed, and they rename themselves the Communists. So the Bolsheviks are now known as the Communists, with Vladimir Lenin as the head. Now, once he is in charge, he will sign a treaty with Germany called the Brest-Litovsk. It ends the war, and they give up a large amount of territory. It's the only thing Lenin could do. He has to fight a civil war. Just because the communists are in charge now does not mean everybody in Russia want the communists to be in charge. So he has a civil war to fight. He's got to fight for control of the nation he just took over. Here are a couple pictures of Lenin. You can see one on the left is an actual portrait of him. The one on the right is some propaganda showing him as the leader of the Communist Party, the heroic pose, if you will. The Civil War, it's an opposition to the communist government. The Allies send aid to help defeat the communists. The communists become known as the Reds because of the color of their flag, and the whites are the Allies, or the anti-communists. And the Reds defeated. Triumph of the communists. Lenin Trotsky and the war communism. Cheka, secret police and nationalism. Okay. Sorry guys, I should change that. That should say the whites are defeated. The Reds completely win the battles. I don't know why it says Reds. My apologies. I'll make sure to change that. So, with that being said, we now have Lenin in charge of Russia. He will very quickly rename Russia to the Soviet Union, and well, you'll see what happens when they become the Soviet Union. But that's just a very brief background knowledge on the Russian Revolution. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later.